Okay, so I promised the unboxing of a rare space age-like guitar. But while I'm ripping this box open, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I have a master's degree in music, so I've done a lot of performing and teaching. But I've also worked in retail and done retail management and repairs. And I've even worked for musical instrument manufacturers as a sales rep. And one of those companies I worked for was RKS Guitars, which was a design firm owned by a guy and ran by a guy named Ravi Soni. And they built guitars out of California. And everything they made was US made. And this happens to be the lowest model that they had. And it was called the Wave. Now, let's take a look at this bad boy. Okay, well, it looks like someone's cat lived here in the case. But if you look at the guitar, you're going to notice a couple things right off the bat. Hey, there's no knobs on this thing, right? And so what I want to do with this guitar is I literally want to look at all the ins and outs and do a full review of this guitar and do a little demo too of it. All right, so here's the spec list. You're going to see very standard specs, 3-piece maple neck, 25.5-inch scale length, body material. I want to talk about this proprietary wood-based polymer. This was actually like a cellulose type material that responded very similar as organic, responded a lot like wood. Okay, so you may be wondering, why am I starting with the back of the guitar here? Well, this body was designed to come off, and the idea was, hey, you could swap it out with other colors for just the cost of the body and the front plate. Or you could just buy a blank shell and paint your own custom color. We had other body designs that we came up with, so hey, you could swap it out with a different body shape. This is one of my favorite. This is the Boomerang, this V. Tough to sit with, but if you could swap it with something that was more, had contours for your lap, you could sit with it. One thing I did not like about these screws were not deep enough in my opinion and too small of a hex wrench. But here's what this thing looks like without the body on it. You can see this is all a plastic composite. The body was the shell that went on, that was more the wood-based polymer, and so you could see the brass fittings for the screws. And then these 4 bolts right here, and actually that 5th one down there, held the neck onto the body. And just like the spec list said, this is a 3-piece maple neck, very stable, with multiple pieces, die-cast steel tuners, and the spear headstock that everybody hated, so we replaced it with this one, which was called the ohm headstock, and actually that brass piece on the top gave you more sustain. So it looks like a paddle, right? So now I'm going to take the top plate off. We're going to get a chance to look at the electronics because, like I said, there's no knobs on the top of this thing. The knobs are actually run through where these channels are. Now here's those screws I was talking about where the neck bolts onto the body. And let's take a look at the neck before we get into the electronics. You can see really nice rosewood fingerboard, the top of the ugly spear headstock, abalone inlays on these. Power by lace, they were just kind of like 10K output pickups, just general type pickups. But here's the knobs. Check out the amount of distance, really small to get your full tone swell. So you could just reach down in that little channel area and swap those out, and 3-way pickup selector switch. I'm going to buff this thing up, and they actually cleaned up really nice for a matte finish that we put on those shells. But there's the shell itself. Okay. I'm going to take time to condition the fingerboard here while I've got all the strings off and everything, and let me speak to that. I've used olive oil. Old Italian luthier turned me on to it. Been using it for like 20 years. The thing about it, don't use a lot of oil, whether you use lem oil or whatever, and go parallel with the frets, because if you get that oil underneath the fret tang, you can soften that wood and actually have your frets lift up on you. All right, so I'm going to put this bad boy back together, and what I want to do is test all the tones, go to the deepest, darkest tones we can get out of this thing, and the lightest and brightest tones that we can get out of it as well. I'm just going to use my Fender Concert little custom amplifier here that I've got with aluminum nickel cobalt speakers on a clean channel. All right, so I couldn't help myself with this outro, but tell me what you think. RKS guitar, innovative, cool, not cool? Leave your comment below. Maybe we'll start a little dialogue about it. Also, let me know if you'd be interested in hearing about why RKS stopped making guitars. Why they started is kind of readily available information, but why they stopped might be a little bit more insider. And if you like today's video, please subscribe. I got more cool videos on the way. Thanks, guys.